Hey people, so here we are again. This time we are going to work on the substitution method to solve equations. And the exercise that we are going to solve is going to be 3x plus y equals 2 and 4y's equal 12 minus 12x. Okay? So if you remember, we were saying that the first step when we are using substitution is to find equations that which say x equals to something and the other part of the equation, or y equals to something, the other part of the equation. And if we don't have x and y isolated by itself in an equation like this, we have to isolate the variable ourselves, okay? We have to do it ourselves. So how? Okay, here's the fun part of this. In our exercise, we can see that we have the standard form of an equation here, and we can see that in our second equation, the y is not solved completely. It's not completely isolated. So we have to isolate it ourselves. Okay, because if we don't have the variable isolated by itself, but we have to do it. Okay, so if we have then in my case, before I do this step, I need to select the easiest equation for me to solve, okay, for one of the variables. I consider that the second equation, and I'm going to write, and I'm going to tell you, this is my first equation. And for me, all of this is my second equation, okay? This is my first step, okay? So, because I don't have the y by itself, right? I don't have it. I need to isolate it by itself, okay? How? So I'm going to pick my second equation to isolate the y because it's really easy, this equation here. I have 4y's equal 12 minus 12x. So now, I have, remember, when we are solving for a variable, we need to use PEMDAS in reverse order. So on the left side of the equation that we are solving, on this side, we don't have subtraction, we don't have addition, we don't have division, but we have multiplication. 4y is equal to 4 times the y. So this 4 is multiplying the variable, okay? Because the 4 is multiplying the variable, then we have to use the opposite operation to multiplication. We have multiplication, the opposite operation is division, okay? So in order to get rid of this 4 here, we have to divide the equation by 4. And if we do it on one side, remember that we have the right side of the equation is this. We have to do it exactly on the, we need to do exactly the same thing on the other side, okay? So we are going to cross out this 4, we are going to have y equals to, let me correct this equal sign, y equals 2. And then 12 over 4 equals 3. And negative 12 over 4, over this 4 here, equals to negative 3, and then I cannot forget my x here. I need to plug my x here. It's equal to negative 3x, okay? So my equation solved for y is this equation I have here. Okay, so now my system, the system that I'm solving is this system here in the red cloud. And the equation, I use the second equation to solve for y, and then I got this result in the blue cloud, okay? So what happens? That for my second step, I need to circle everything behind, I need to find an equation like this. Y equals to 3 minus, y equals something, right? On the right here, another equation on the right. And it turns out that I have it here. I have my equation. Y equals to something here. So according to the method to solve equations by substitution, I need to circle which is on the right side of the equal sign when I have equation solved for one variable. And this is going to be my blob, okay, for this exercise. So this is my second step. And then for my third step, I'm going to replace the blob in, that works. The blob in the other equation. Okay. What I mean is, I was working with my second equation. From my second equation, I got my blob, right? But I haven't touched this equation here. I haven't touched the equation 3x plus y equals 2, okay? But at the same time, when I worked the blob out, I got this. And then I know that I have to replace this variable, the y, by the blob, okay? By this. So in this equation, instead of having the y, I'm going to have the amounts in the blob, okay? So how is this? I'm going to have 3. That's what the method is called substitution, because you have to substitute. You're going to have, in this equation, is going to transform into 3x, because you are not substituting x, and then plus y, okay? But remember that y is equal to 3 minus 3x, and this is equal to 2, okay? The 2 that we have here. So now we are going to clean everything. And now we are working with this equation here. We are working with 3x plus 3 minus 3x equals 2. This equation here. Okay, so as a summary, we are working with this system. We are solving this system of equations here in blue. And then we used the second, this is my first equation, this is my second equation. We used the second equation to find the blob. And we said that the blob was this, and we replaced the blob right here, okay? So now that you know what we did, I'm going to continue. I'm going to solve this equation here. I'm going to simplify to see what is the result. Okay, so I'm going to plug in the blob, this part of the equation, into my equation, and I'm going to simplify. Let's do it. So I'm going to have 3x, then positive by positive gives me positive 3. Positive by negative gives me negative 3x, and in this way I disappear the parentheses, and this is going to be equal to 2. So now I have 3 positive x that cancel out with 3 negative x, and as a result I have that 3 is equal to 2. As you know, 3, okay, this is what I get. I get 3 is equal to 2. But as you know, 3 is not equal to 2. This is the true, okay? This is different from 2. So this result that we are getting here, because 3 is not equal to 2, this is called a false statement in math, okay? It's something that is not real, it's not true. Let me erase that statement. Okay, is it working now? Statement, okay? And because it's false, then we are going to say that the system, this system has no okay, I'm sorry, but has no solution. What I mean is that these two lines, the first equation and the second equation, the first equation, this equation, has a, okay, this equation, the first one that I'm circling in red, has a line like this, okay? And then the second equation that I'm circling in blue has a line like this. So because they are parallel, they never cross. So that's why the system has no solution. Okay, people, so here we are again.